Yeah, exactly.
Tightening down as you continue to turn.
Man, what a muddy log. Don't go that way. Wrong direction, big man. Probably don't want to go there. Turn around. Go. Go, 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 go. Yeah, baby. This is a mud hole log. Been drugged through the mud, packed with grit. I just put a new band on and that's the first log of the session. So today we're going to be talking about muddy logs and what you can do about them and what you can't do about them. So I'm Robert Milton, Hobby Hardwood, Alabama, coming at you on your hopefully weekly visit to our sawmill. I hope y'all learned something watching these because I enjoy making them. And we are a real sawmill, so I make money selling. What just hit me in the hand? Was that a wasp? I hope not. It's gone. Anyway, we're a real sawmill, lumber yard. We make money selling lumber. I do these videos for free, but I am trying to show you some stuff because I get a lot of questions from across the country and across the world. And I do appreciate all the questions and comments. I try to answer every single one of them. And yes, it does take a lot of time, but I figure if you're going to go to the trouble to ask a question or even make a comment, then I should go to the trouble of answering it. Muddy logs. So let's just start with, have you ever taken your brand new chainsaw or your brand new chainsaw chain and cut into a log and stuck that tip right in the dirt, just even for a fraction of a second? And on the very next cut, it's as dull as a brick. And you just want to kick yourself because you knew that was going to happen, but you did it anyway, or you did it by mistake. The same thing holds true with sawmill bands. They're high-speed steel, and yes, I do have carbide bands, and people ask me if I use them or not. That's a whole different video. Answer is no, I do not. But I do use high-speed steel bands. I've used various manufacturers. It really doesn't matter. You hit dirt with them, you're going to dull them up. No different than your favorite chainsaw. So what do you do about it? Well, back when I had my little LT15, I dulled up a lot of bands. I used to think it was cool to drag my logs through the mud because I was skidding them out of my own woods or I was doing it myself on other people's property. Logs would come in as mud balls. I'd whack the bark off with a spud. I'd try to knock them off with a front end loader. I'd raise them up and drop them. Don't do that. Well, and I even got a high pressure washer and I would try to wash them off. Wash the mud off. And let me tell you what, that was fun for about the first 2 minutes, and after that, it's no fun. It's a wet, soggy mess. In the wintertime, it's a cold, wet, soggy mess. And yeah, it does get a lot of the mud off, but it drives a lot down into the bark. So it's not really the good answer. The best answer is don't drag your logs through the mud anyway. When they fall, pick them up, treat them with a little care, put them on a pile, and don't get them all nasty. Now, we all know that real life is real life. So yes, you are going to have to roll them, you're going to have to drag, you're going to do some stuff. That's just part of logging and part of sawmilling. And you will have some dirty logs, but as a general rule, try to take care not to get your logs dirty because you will pay for it in band life. You can literally put on a brand new blade, like me right here, make one cut through the mud, and that band is noticeably duller on the second cut, and I'm going to try not to do that. If you got a manual mill, there's some tricks you can do. I'll kind of discuss it, but really the best thing you can have is a debarker or a mud saw, and I have one. I had one on my LT40, got one on my LT70. I did not have one on my LT15. The debarker was me. And what these things are, and they come in different shapes and sizes and everything, but basically it's a circular saw blade right here that precedes the cut of the saw blade. So this thing goes in and out, goes against the bark, cuts through the bark with a carbide tip blade. We're just trying to get through the mud. We're not trying to cut off a board. And that way the saw blade is only hitting clean wood. So some people call them a mud saw. Some people call them a debarker. I call mine Bob. If you want to know why, it's called Bob Debarker. Get it? Bob Barker? I mean, Bob the Barker. Yeah, okay. If you have to explain a joke, it's not a joke. Anyway, the idea being that your valuable and razor sharp saw blade don't have to cut through mud and grit. Gosh, like that. Look at it, it's coming off look at there's rocks coming out. Oh, it's a mess. So you'll see me use it as I'm doing it. Now, I don't really get too hung up on Bob because some people have commented that I won't even start Bob in until it gets way down here, because in all honesty, I am concentrating on other things, like trying to get a good cut. But I'm going to be live edge slabbing these big dudes, and that means I can't cut away from the bark. I'm going to have to go through the bark, and that means Bob's going to be getting a workout today. One of the first things you do, it's a pretty straightforward rule of thumb, is try not to cut into the mud. Cut into the other side. You cut out of the mud. If you're cutting into the grit, even with a debarker, you're going to drive that grit into the wood with your saw blade or band, and it's going to dull it up even quicker. So I like to cut out of the mud. So since the saw band is going that way, even with a debarker, I do not want to start here, because I may miss and there's dust and crap going, there's dust and stuff getting sucked in. What I want to do is rotate that way. Always cut away from the dirt if you can. And that's actually a pretty good tip for manual sawmill operators too. I see a lot of these on videos where people have manual sawmills and they cut through the bark and then they rotate 90 and they cut through the bark and they rotate 90 and they cut through the bark. And then I just want to say, listen, just because a sawmill is trying to rotate it that direction does not mean you have to. As soon as you have one clean face on the cant, you can rotate it the way most wood misers like to rotate, which is this direction, which means your next cut's going to be through the bark. Or you can do what's called a reverse roll. You cut through and you roll it backwards. That way, so that you've still got a round area against your backstop, but the face of the cant is where the band is going in, and that means the band is not going in through mud. Yes, it's easier to rotate to the flat at the backstop. It gets your alignment better, but you're tearing your band up. Rotate opposite, so the new opening face is outboard. Eyeball vertical, you'll get pretty good at it after a while. Eyeball vertical, and then have the band go in through the clean wood and out the dirty side, and then rotate again and rotate again. So on some smaller logs, you've really only got to go through the bark once or twice to get it down to a fully formed cant. So if you take like a slab and a flitch, the slab's the barky thing, the flitch is a thing with the bark on the edges. Don't want to get too technical here. But so most times you cut a log, you're going to cut a slab off, and you're going to cut a flitch off. So that's 2 times through the fresh bark. Say you just have to do that twice on each face, that could potentially be 8 cuts through dirt. If you reverse roll, you'll have 2 cuts through the dirt, the bark. Every cut after that will be through a clean face of the cant. Y'all with me? I would demonstrate on this one, but I'm going to be doing live edge sawing, so in my case, every cut has to go through the dirt. But even though I have bob, I'm still going to try to figure out which face I want to start with as far as grade and stress, and then I also want to compromise a little bit on the face that has the least amount of dirt. And in this case, I want to get my debarker going in pretty fast, pretty quick on the board. And let's do it. Let's quit talking and start sawing, and maybe you'll be able to see some of this. All right, I've rotated a reasonably clean face here. The cool thing about Bob is he rotates, so you basically get him out of the way. When you start making the cut, I'll push him in. The blade will be spinning, and you'll see a white line. And then the band should be in the white line. I hope it is. If not, I'm going to have to adjust it. I really don't want to do that. I'm going to turn it on, but it only comes on when I go in the forward gear. Going real slow, so hopefully you can see it work. Try that again, just so you can see what I'm doing. Going nice and slow. I'll change the camera position on the next one, but you can see. What you got to realize is that's arm. No matter what kind you have, this arm will have a tilt adjustment. It'll tilt up, it'll rotate. And the reason you need that is if you're cutting a great big log and you have bob all the way out, then that should always cut in line with the saw blade. When you rotate him in on a really, really small log, like way into there, you still need to be cutting in plane with your band. So one of the ways you adjust that is you adjust the tilt so that when it's here, it's in line with the band, and when it's outboard, cutting a big log, it's in line with the band, and you adjust that. On a 70, you use this little guy to adjust your tilt, but a 40 is an easy adjustment as well. And then you also have a set of bolts here to adjust up and down. So that's one of the mistakes I see a lot of people do, is they'll set their debarker to cut in the center of the kerf, like on a normal size log, but then you'll see them put a small log on there, and the mud saw or the debarker is cutting way up here, and the band is cutting down here, so it's not doing any good. What you want, you can see my cut is perfectly in line with the center of the saw kerf. So imagine the carbide tips, they're cutting this clean area right here through the bark into the wood, and then the saw band is going right in that path, so there's nothing for the teeth to hit. See how that works? So that basically means even though there's a big wad of mud right here. You can see where the mud saw or the debarker cut through the mud, and then the bandsaw cuts in the middle of that clean path that was just cut. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Simple machine. Does a great job. Unfortunately, you are still going to have to go through mud on the backside. And that does have some dulling effect, but the tooth is going through clean wood and it's basically just pulling the mud out. So it's not really just abrading against it as if it was going in. Always try to cut out. Always try to cut out of the mud, not into the mud. Now, of course, if I was just cutting boards or lumber, once I get the cant squared up and there's clean faces, I just turn Bob off, push him out of the way digitally. And in case you're wondering how I do it on at 70, I'll show you. This is the button. He's off, he's on. And then I take this guy, this little thumb button, left and right. And if you watch, I don't know if you can see it, but as I press here, you'll see it move in. And as I press there, you'll see it move out. So I can control the position as I'm sawing. Start spinning or start cutting. I'm going kind of slow so you can see it. Move this out of the way a little bit more. See how that's working? Now I'm going to bring it out. See, that's a spring. And I bring it out, and that's pretty much it. And you can see, since it's spring loaded, it bounces over the irregularities of the log. Let's go get another one. Right about here, bring it in. I hit that one a little hard. Oh well. Bring it out. Last one. Let's check them. You can see I'm in the center right there. I'm in the center right there. I'm a little high, not much. I mean, Bob did a pretty good job. These are nice logs. They got some knots in that center. That's typically, the closer you get to the juvenile core, you're going to start to see some knots. But those are pretty wide. Those are 16, 18 inch wide live edge slabs. Let's cut another one real quick. All right, we're going pretty good here. I'm at 22 inches high. Pretty big log. Dragging a little bit. Slow down. I'm right at the edge where my saw blade likes to go. That's a big cut. 26-inch wide right there. Gotta slow down some. Whoa! Hit my camera. Probably need to move my camera, huh? All right, guys. I hope y'all enjoyed this one, talking about a sawmill mud saw, debarker, or bob. So please like, comment, and especially subscribe. That helps me get more visibility on the videos, and it keeps me motivated to keep making them. So please hit the button, and we will see you guys next week. Have a good one. Thanks for visiting our sawmill. Click on the links above to see more of our videos.